Hello everyone, Matty here, and welcome to Kerbal Space Program. This game's been out for quite a while. I've played around with it some. I've actually gotten a few hours in it, but I've never really done anything past Minmus. And for those of you who don't know what this game is, well, you'll figure it out soon enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new space program. I'm going to name it Matty Space Program. And I'm going to be doing career on normal difficulty. Maybe once I get more used to the game I can hit it on hard. I've always liked this flag here. I don't know why, it's just pretty. And start. So if you don't know what the game is, it's essentially a physics-based rocket game where you create your own spaceships, fly them into space to other planets. It's not exactly our solar system or anything. Like, hold on just a second, I'll show you. See, this is Kerbin, the planet we start on, and then the moon, M-U-N, Minmus, our outer moon, and then we go out farther, and we have the Kerbal solar system, because that's Kerbal right there, even though it doesn't have the name, which I never understood. Okay. So eventually we'll be getting out to these planets, maybe if I can figure out the game good enough. If nothing else, it'll be a humorous event to watch. So like any budding space program, our first thing to do is going to be taking contracts. So we can get money to make our space program better, you know, so on and so forth. I'm going to take the one to get science data from Kerbin, because that's easy. And launching the first vessel, because that's easy as well. Okay. So for those of you just starting out in this game, one of the best things to do, or one of the best things to do, I guess, is to load up a little capsule like this. These two little science things here. You don't need two, but oh well. And launch it. Now, we're not going to get the contract for the first flight because we're not actually going to be moving anywhere, but we will get the scientific data from Kerbin because there's a few scientific data things we can do here. Going to observe this mystery goo. Goo doesn't seem to be doing much right now. Well, it's because we're not moving. And then with a crew, you can do a crew report. Record the crew's assessment of the situation. Not like it's being that different from anything else. And there's a little glitch here, but your Kerbal can take EVA reports while they're outside of the vehicle, extravehicular activity, as EVA is. And what they can do is you right click and have EVA report. Now, you can either have EVA report from the ground, from the air above the ground, from atmosphere, high atmosphere, in space, and etc. But there's a little exploit that I found in the game, and most people have found in the game, to where if you're not actually touching the ground, like you're hanging onto the side of this crew capsule here, and some reason you're like gyrating insanely much, don't know if that shows up on the video, but EVA report, and you have it while flying over Kerbin shores because you're not actually touching the ground. Now what you can do with that is you can store it in the capsule, because your Kerbal can only have one EVA report at a time, and drop off and not fail like I just did, and EVA report again, and have an EVA report from the launch pad. Now that gives us some extra science to be had. Board, and for the heck of it, I'll observe it again and maybe get a small amount of science. Not that that was what that was. That was the if. Hold on, I'll show you. Okay, so when we do a science report, we can either keep it or transmit it. If we transmit it, we only get a small amount of data compared to keeping it. Now, the more you do an experiment, the smaller the data amount you get is. Not this data, but the amount of science you get is going to be smaller. Now with this, it's 3 to begin with, but since I'm doing 2, it'll be 3 and like 0.6, maybe, something like that. But the point is, the more you do a science experiment, the less science you get. So we're going to recover that. For a total of 13.2 science. So how was everyone's Christmas? It's day after Christmas now, and my Christmas was good. Okay, so with this science, we are now in the R&D, which shows us all the different parts we can unlock. Now these are going to be far in the future from now. We're going to start way back here at basic rocketry, which gets us a solid fuel booster, a good little liquid rocket engine, and a small fuel tank. And we're going to go engineering 101, which is more science, a comms antenna, I guess, lets us transmit science, and a decoupler. That'll let us basically have a rocket beneath us, and when we launch, we can decouple that after the launch, and, well, we won't have to come down with the entire weight of that. So, now that we've done that, close that up. I won't be taking any new contracts right now. What I'm going to do is this new science container, I'm going to put this on here, launch again. Again, we're not going to be getting the first launch contract, but we are going to be getting more science. Because now we have material study from the launch pad. I'll cover that. This is usually what I do to start up my games, because see, that's 7.5 science easy. Now, what you can also do is go to the SPH, the spaceplane hangar, and build roughly the same ship. Science Junior, 2 of these, we're going to write it. There we go. And see, now we can launch this, and we will appear on the runway. And the runway is in completely extra science than the launch pad. So we're going to crew report, keep it, science material study, keep it, mystery goo, keep that. I'm going to do another one, because why not? Now, we can't do the flying above one again because it will give us the exact same report, flying over Kerbal shores. So what we can do is jump down here and EVA report from the runway, and there we go. Now, sometimes, if you do it just right, you can grab on to the side of this and get back. Yep. Oh, come on, Jebediah, you've got this. You can jump back and board, so you can recover it all at once. And that's an extra 15 science. So now we can unlock new things. I'm pretty sure the only thing we can get right now with that 15 is survivability. Yeah, because... oh, wait, no, we have a total of 26. Never mind. What should we get? I think I'm going to go ahead and get survivability, because I like these radial parachutes. Okay. So now we can finally do our first launch. Now the first launch is not going to be very eventful, because what I'm going to do is get this ready like this, and then put an engine underneath here. And what I'm going to do is launch this up just enough so that these are in air, and that's extra science for us. Okay. And these parachutes just in case. Oh, my mouse went off screen there for a second. There we go. You never want to have your engine and parachutes first. That's a very, very, very common mistake for newer players. I've done it plenty of times. Hopper 1. I always name my first starting crafts the Hopper series. I don't know why. And launch. Now, the reason I did the EVA report first, a couple of launches ago, where I had it above the shores, is because once a rocket launches, unless you have upgraded your astronaut facility, which is somewhere over there, like behind the VAB, you cannot EVA your Kerbal when you're in a launch. So we're going to be upgrading that soon enough. SAS on, that's your stability system. And I'm actually going to throttle down a bit and launch. and we're off. So now we can do material study, mystery goo, and I'll keep that just in case we land in a new biome. Then crew report, and keep that. And I'm going to try to steer us aerodynamically this way a bit. See if we can't get over to these shores here. Or possibly the water, which I don't see happening, but you never know. For those of you wondering, this is Kerbal Space Program 1.0.5. Yeah, just had to say that. Okay. Looks like we're going to be landing in the shores area. So I'm going to pop the chutes. I always like to think of that one as like a drogue chute, because it kind of looks that way. I really hope we don't explode this engine, but you know, if it happens, it happens. Time warp a bit. I remember back when it was a bad idea to time warp if you were parachuting, because it would sometimes the parachute would open so fast that it would rip off, which now they've implemented G-forces to where if you're going too fast, like way too fast in your ship, and you try to pop a chute, it'll just rip it clean off. Or it could be overheated and blow clean off. But we haven't experienced that yet, so far. Okay. Here we are. I don't know if this will be the KSC biome or the Kerbal Shores biome, but we'll see. And landed. Oh no, don't tip. Okay, we're good. Now, actually, board that. Mystery goo, where are we at? We are at Kerbal Shores. Awesome. So what I can do is EVA. Now, your crew capsule can only hold one data report at a time, like a crew report at a time, but what you can do is you can take the data from there and store it in your own little spacesuit and board it. The way I like to think of this is like you're taking it out of a little tape device, recorder, whatever, and storing it somewhere else in the capsule. And we can take another crew report now from Kerbal Shores. Okay, so now I'm going to get out again and fall and break my knees, but you know, whatever, and EVA report from Kerbal Shores. Now, I don't think I can climb back up that, so I'm just going to recover Jebediah. This'll load. And that only gave us 7.4 science because it was what Jeb had. Wow, I didn't know they upped the science to that. Never mind. But anyway, 7.4 science. Now what we can do is recover Hopper 1 and get 33 more science. We're literally swimming in science now. So we can go ahead and unlock these and unlock these. And that gives us some wings and a radial decoupler, which is good for other flights, and gets us solid booster, a better vacuum engine that has vectoring, so it'll actually turn instead of just a straight thrust, and another fuel tank. That'll conserve on parts. And I don't know about cost, but it'll conserve on parts. Because you do have a parts limit in the VAB, which can be upgraded by upgrading the VAB. Now, let's see what kind of contracts we have. And flight, and flight, and flight, and flight. I think I can do this one maybe. 5,000 to 8,000 at 70 to 140 meters per second. I could do this. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so what we're doing is we're testing that little parachute like we have on top here at 70 to 140 meters per second from 5 to 8,000 meters, I think was what I said. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all of this extra weight and add a coupler here. Get this bigger fuel tank. And what it'll do is it'll launch up, I can decouple, and then parachute. And I don't need any science because I've already taken the scientific data. So let's go again. Okay. Throttle up just a bit and launch. Here we go. Slow down a bit. I want to stay in that little area. You know, honestly, let's do a little bit of a turn here, see if we can't land in the ocean. Because that'll be a little bit more scientific data. Going a bit too fast. Okay, there's 5,000 meters, so I'm going to cut the engines. Actually, no, I'm going to keep the engines going just a bit so I can get a little bit more speed. Now I'm going to cut the engines and parachute. And contract complete. And I do believe we're going to land in the water. Now, can I get a crew report? I can. Oh, that was close. Bye. Okay, so save that. And now we just wait till landing. Speed it up a bit. And there we go. Parachute deployed. Slowing down. Alright. So now we just wait to contact the water surface. And landed. That seemed a bit rough, but I think it was only because we were going in time warp. Okay. Oh, I don't know what's happening. Okay, so what I'm going to do is EVA, take an EVA report, I have it while flying over Kerbin's water. I'm going to take the data out, board, and take a crew report. So now I have a crew report from Kerbin's water. I'm going to keep that and recover. Alrighty. 11.2 science earned from that. That's pretty good since we were just doing it for a contract, essentially. Now, I'm pretty sure, yes, all of these nodes cost 45 science. And we don't have enough for one of those yet, but let's plan ahead. That gives us these and struts, which are probably the two most important things in there. This will let us build planes, which is good if we need to harvest some more science. Better control, that's important. And this is more science and some radiator panels for if it gets really hot. And our first probe core. Now, I really don't like this probe core, I'll be completely honest. I don't ever use it. I essentially get this node for the batteries and the more science. For the next node that we're gonna get... Oh, and this one gives us this engine. Okay, the next node we're going to get is definitely this one. This engine is very useful for when you're in space. It has a very high, I don't know if, okay, it has a very high ISP. And ISP, what it is basically your efficiency in atmosphere or vacuum. Now, you can see in the vacuum, it has a very high engine ISP at 345. That means it's very, very efficient once you're in space, and that's what we're going to use it for. So, we need to get some more science. But I think that's a good stopping point for this episode. Stick around for day 2 of our career mode, and we'll see what happens. Goodbye.